What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
I think you're a psycho scam artist.
They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations, and so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out.
Stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it.
So this is a growing fight over exposing fraud. That is YouTuber Nick Shirley, whose videos have reached millions, putting a spotlight on investigations into stolen funds across the U.S. We've been tracking these in Minnesota. Federal investigators probing what could potentially be billions of dollars in misuse across childcare, Medicaid, pandemic food aid programs. Then in New York, federal authorities say they've already moved to block hundreds of millions in fraudulent schemes tied to taxpayer-funded programs. Well, now Shirley is focusing in on California, but he's getting pushback from some state lawmakers. A bill dubbed by some as the Stop Nick Shirley Act would boost privacy for immigrant services providers, outlawing the ability to share photos or personal data of a provider on the internet, like what would be done in Shirley's videos. While supporters say it's about protecting people from harassment and threats, critics argue it goes much farther, shielding fraud from public scrutiny. So are they protecting vulnerable communities or protecting bad actors? Joining us now, independent California Congressman Kiley, who's been outspoken on government oversight and what he calls the need for transparency with our taxpayer dollars. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. What is your take? At its core, do you see this as a public safety measure or a threat to press freedom?
Oh, it's absolutely a threat to press freedom, and in particular to the citizen journalists who have proven so effective at uncovering tax dollars being wasted on a staggering scale. The way this bill is written is it would turn someone into a criminal for posting photos online of a taxpayer-funded institution, even photos that could be seen, that you could take in full public view of the institution. So I think it is absolutely the politicians in Sacramento saying, well, we saw what happened to Tim Walz in Minnesota when all of the fraud there came to light, and we don't want the same thing to happen us. So it's very telling. They're proactively trying not to stop the fraud itself, but to stop those who are exposing the fraud.
One of the key debates here is about intent. So we see some lawmakers saying that the bill targets harassment and not journalism. Do you think it's important to protect immigrant populations from harassment? And how do we do that while still working to expose fraud?
Oh, certainly. It's important to protect those populations and all populations from genuine harassment, which is already illegal. There are plenty of laws that deal with that in all different forms. Harassment has been carved out by the U.S. Supreme Court as something that is not protected by the First Amendment. So there's simply no need for a law like this to protect folks from that sort of thing. I have no doubt that something like this would very likely be struck down in court. The chilling effect is severe when it comes to the exercise of First Amendment freedoms, specifically freedom of the press. And I think that, when we're talking about fraud, this is something that everyone should be able to agree on, that when our tax dollars are going by the billions, not to providing health care, not to our schools, not to building roads, but to criminals who are purloining our treasury, that's something that we should all be outraged about, and we should encourage and applaud every effort to uncover these schemes and to stop them.
Do you think many California state lawmakers are afraid of Nick Shirley, and why?
I do think that in Sacramento, there is a fear that when people learn about the true scale of the fraud that exists and how many of their tax dollars are being wasted, there are going to be demands for accountability. There will be questions. Why did our political leaders allow this to happen? I mean, I'll tell you, I've been trying to bring accountability here for a long time. Several years ago, when I was in the legislature, I proposed an audit of homelessness spending in California. And when that audit was eventually done, they found that $24 billion was spent and none of it was tracked. The homeless population actually went up. We've also done everything we can to try to bring accountability for this fraud and unemployment benefits. $32 billion, many millions in community college fraud. The LA Times just had a story on how the state ignored all of the warning signs when it came to the massive hospice fraud that we're seeing. So, I mean, absolutely, I think that the politicians politicians who have been in power, have seen the consequences that happened in Minnesota, and so they're trying to shield themselves from those consequences as well. But I think the better thing to do, rather than coming up with some way of going after citizen journalists, is say, okay, we're going to take the issue of fraud seriously and do everything we can to stop it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.